this, man. How'd you first get into music?
I don't know. When I was a kid, for whatever reason, I just wanted to play the trumpet. I just felt drawn to playing the trumpet and getting the band. So in third grade, I think, or fourth grade, I started playing trumpet in the band. And then I liked music. My friends would have turntable and we'd play the same record over and over. And I don't know. I just liked the whole thing. I don't know what it was. I was drawn to it. So I was in the band and I played trumpet for about 14 years. And then, at the end of high school, I realized trumpet wasn't that cool. So I got into guitar. And then, so my friends were all kind of musicians. Wimpy, the guys I started the Queers with, Wimpy was a drummer in the school band for grade school and high school. And then Tulu, he was a musician, guitar player. And so I met them. I don't know. All my friends were kind of nerdy Ramones fans and, that played music type of thing, so that's how it started. But it was weird looking back now, but I was really drawn to music for whatever reason. I just really liked it. And so it's odd that I'm still playing music to this day, but from when I was in fourth grade playing trumpet, man. So,
Well, I mean, in retrospect, the trumpet is pretty cool. Like it might
yeah.
not have seemed that cool back then, but it's cool. I mean, Dizzy Gillespie was pulling off some stuff back in the day. Trumpet's cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got to the point where I loved playing trumpet. I was in the marching band and the jazz band, dance band, and I liked it. I learned a lot about how to play in a band with you had the first trumpet, second trumpet, third trumpet, and trombones and clarinet. And it was a great education. And so I could read music and all that shit. And I liked it, but I realized I was going to hit the wall with trumpet. Physically, I couldn't do the staccato notes. So all of a sudden I realized I was only going so far with trumpet, though I enjoyed playing it. And ironically, I just bought a trumpet for the first time in years. I haven't had a trumpet, but I bought one because I'm going to play. We're doing a cover song for a compilation, and I'm going to play trumpet on it just because I was like, fuck it, I'm going to get the trumpet. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I didn't spend much money on the trumpet, but I was like, I'm going to play the trumpet on this part. It's really easy. It's something I could have played in probably sixth grade, but I'm going to do it just to say I did it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you picked it up and you can still play her?
Yeah, I could play the scale and all that stuff. I'm smart enough that I know once I got to figure the part out. And once I do it, I can practice it and I know how to practice. And that was a great thing that the grade school gave me. The band was learning when I, joined a band, rock and roll band. I knew how to practice and I could read music. Not that I needed to, but I had an ear and I knew the notes and that type of stuff. So yeah, I'll tell you a funny story though. Joey Ramone, before his solo album came out, he called me one Saturday morning. I was at my folks' house, and he goes, "Hey Joe, it's Joey, and let me play you a song off I just finished mixed. Let me know about the mix on this song for my solo album." I said, "What is it?" And he goes, "What a Wonderful World." And I go, "The Louis Armstrong song?" And he goes, "Yeah, you know it." And I said, "Dude, I played trumpet for 14 years," and so he was kind of surprised, but I remember he held the phone up to the speaker and I listened to it. I was amazed by it. But in those few seconds before the music started playing, this is what, I didn't even know he was covering the song long before his solo album came out. I remember thinking I could not think of any song, if he had said a Beach Boys song or Jan and Dean or Paul Revere and the Raiders or whatever, I would have said, yes, okay, cool. But What a Wonderful World. And I was really astounded by how good the song was, but I remember being just dumbfounded, thinking as a trumpet player, how in hell is Joey Ramone going to pull this song off? And it was amazing. But yeah, he was surprised I knew who the song was by and all that. I said, "Oh, no, I know all that shit, buddy." Pretty cool. But I thought it was very inventive. The cover was great. It was a great idea for a cover. It was really cool. So, but yeah, I'll never forget just going, how is he going to pull this off? He can't be doing it like Louis Armstrong. I was like, God. So it's kind of funny, huh?
So
he did it though.
This is something no one knows. Kicked out of the Weemaloo. Don't you think it's really cute? Kicked out of the Weemaloo. Punch her in the 40 news. Kicked out of
You released a lot of material over the years. It's hard to cover it all. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
gloss over your EPs and just gonna go with the main stuff, except for your two first EPs, Love Me and Kicked Out of Weebly's.
Yeah.
W- Give me the lowdown on that era of the band.
Well, we graduated high school and just lived to go to Ramon shows. Didn't know what we were going to do with our lives. Hated everybody around us, but knew we were smarter than all of them. And then the Ramones kind of came along, and then Black Flag, and we started playing bands and all that. And so the Love Me thing was just kind of a goofy thing to have fun, and we're just having fun trying to figure stuff out. I don't know. Our neighbor Pappy sang the song "Love Me." I don't know. It was pretty cool. It was kind of a fun thing to do and sort of see what we could do as a band. And we looked up to bands like, say, the Meatmen. We're like, damn, man, look at the Meatmen. They're probably no smarter than we are. Look at them. They're in a band, And so we really were, looked up to the guys like that. And of course, Black Flag. Then we got the TV Party Black Flag 7-inch. And that really influenced us for the second 7-inch, the Weeblos, Kicked Out of the Weeblos, I'm Useless, This Place Sucks. That was our answer to TV Party by Black Flag. So, again, basically we were just Ramones devotees and that, kind of played around a little bit. And then at that point, yeah, so that's where those came from, though. It was just kind of, it was a goofy thing. Yeah, it was pretty exciting. We knew Gigi Allen, because he was from New Hampshire, where we're from. So, and Gigi had a record or two out. So I was always, very impressed by that. I didn't like every song he did, but I was so impressed that he had the vinyl out. You're talking mid 70s and, or late 70s. It was pretty impressive. Yeah. So that's where those came from. Early 80s by that point. But anyway, then I left that kind of, lineup left, and I went down to Boston. We lived an hour away from Boston, so I started jamming with guys in Boston. Jay Razor from DMZ, they're on Sire Records. Anyway, guys down there, and I was playing the Rat. We opened up for the Ramones a few times, and the Dickies, Angry Songs. We would play around at the Rat, Chet's Last Call, all the clubs in Boston. I went to a ton of shows then, so it was really kind of a cool time, And that's where we recorded a few demos, a bunch of demos with various, we'd go in and get some Coke, get a case of beer, and go into a studio for like 4 hours and record some songs. But it's not like now where you worry about the click track and, all this shit. It was like, if you start, it was like taking a flight, we always said. As long as we worried about the takeoff and landing, we didn't care what happened in the air. If they got a bumpy ride in the air, we didn't give a shit as long as we landed and started off on time. So I learned a lot, though. And that's where our Grow Up album really came from, was 3 sessions after that. After that, we got signed to Lookout Records, and we kind of, became the band we sort of are today. But those were the early days. It was just knocking around Boston. It was a great way to learn. I'd see the Cars, Real Kids, the Thrills. There was a lot of great Boston bands. You'd get all the cool Johnny Thunders, Sil Sylvan. You get all the cool bands. The Ramones played up there all the time. So it was a really cool scene there where you saw a lot of great bands at the Rat. I saw the Police at the Rat play in front of 43 people, if you could believe that. Yeah. Yep.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And that's right.
You were one of the 43.
Yeah. It was about 4. I don't think there was 50 people there. Yeah. I think they played 4 nights, and that was the first night. And then by the time they ended, it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was like sold out, I smoked a joint. I had a leather jacket with a police badge, a real police badge on it. That's another story, but I had a real police badge. And so Stuart Copeland and Andy Summers said that, there was nobody there. You know what I mean? And they said, oh, that's cool. Is that a real badge? I said, yeah, it is. I said, you guys want to smoke a joint? They said, yeah. So I went out front on the street in front of the Rat in Boston in Kenmore Square and smoked a joint with Andy Summers and Stuart Copeland. And I've got friends that know Stuart Copeland because he lives in LA. And I'm dying to get in touch with him and ask him about that, or just mention it to him. I doubt he remembers it with all the stuff he's done.
Right.
That's a guy. I don't know if you're into the Police, but that's a guy, whether you are or not, his interviews, I've got to get his book because his interviews are always really good. And I hear his book is great, but if you get a chance, his interviews are really fun. He's a funny guy. And so I'm dying to meet him and say, hey man, you owe me a joint, dude. I turned you on last time. It's like, come on, man. But anyway, that's a true story. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to reveal what level music nerd I am, right? I have a King Crimson tattoo, right?
Wimpy and Tulu were huge King Crimson fans, the guys I started the Queers with. So King Crimson, yeah, I knew all about him, man.
In 94. Shout at the Queers, 666 copies, much coveted live album. And then you put out Beat Off that year as well.
Well, no, Shout at the Queers, that's wrong. The year on that, you got that one. You're a little early on that because that was.
I apologize.
No worries. It was a couple of years after that. In 94, we did Beat Off. The main album was Beat Off, and we did we did Day Late and a Dollar Short. We got all these old songs we had sitting around from the early days with our other singer, Wimpy. Hugh B-Face and I were on Lookout Records with the Queers, and we got Wimpy back, and we recorded all these songs Wimpy and I and Tulu had never recorded. Tulu was out of the picture. He couldn't play after a while. So we did that in 94, 95, around then. So that's what we did there in 94. Yeah, pretty much. So.
Word. I apologized. It was I gathered my information off of Discogs for that one.
Well, Discogs. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I believe Shout at the Queers was that was a couple of years later somewhere, but it wasn't 94 that I recall. I remember that one was yeah, I got to think about that one, that whole thing. That was down the road because we did a live album, Suck This, and I know Shout at the Queers was after that. So
yeah, Suck This came out in 95. Shout at the Queers is currently going for 84.38 on Discogs.
Oh yeah, shit. I wish I had a copy. I forgot about that one. We've got so many albums I can't even remember. So yeah. So that was one I forgot about. I haven't even thought about that little thing in a long time. Shout at the Queers, yeah. So I'd have to think about it where it came from. But anyway, yeah. That era where we were on Lookout Records and the main albums were Love Songs, Beat Off, Move Back Home, and then somewhere in there we did Grow Up. We reissued that, re-released it, remixed it, re-released it. Our old Grow Up album. On Lookout, and then Day Late and Dollar Short was the early stuff with Wimpy, and then we did Move Back Home. So that was our main Lookout era back then. We did Suck This was a live album, stuff like that. So yeah, there was always a lot of energy going around then. It was fun.
Wasn't 96's Don't Back Down on Lookout as well?
Yes, that was, yeah. That was the last album. Well, we subsequently did one more album. We owed him an album, so we owed him on a contractual thing. So we gave him Later Days and Better Lays, but that was just outtakes and stuff like that. So Don't Back Down was really our last album in our heyday on Lookout. We did our Pleasant Screams. We came back to them for Pleasant Screams, but by then they were just about out of business, and they didn't really push it. So in whatever year that was, 99 or something like that. So yeah, but Don't Back Down, yeah, 96. That was one of our biggest albums.
Mercy
And then after that, you moved on to the Hopeless. You had three great albums on Hopeless. So two Punk Rock Confidential and Beyond the Valley, and then a live one live at West Hollywood. Those were all
Yeah.
fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, that's I got. Yeah, they came out pretty good. Beyond the Valley, I had kind of done because we weren't getting paid. I signed a really bad deal for the band, and so we didn't get paid. I mean, I haven't been paid for any of the Hopeless stuff in years. So, Beyond the Valley was like we owed him one an album, and I was like, okay, this is what you get. So I kind of just threw it in. Though there's a lot of people that like that album too. So. It's tough to sell a lot of albums and not get paid for them. You're in Europe or wherever, and you're like, oh man, I wish I got some money, but I haven't been paid for Punk Rock Confidential in years, So I stand corrected. I did get a $9 check last month from Hopeless, so that was like one of the first checks I had seen in 25 years. So, dude, you know what I mean? It's like whatever. Whatever, just you just live and learn, man. Live and learn.
That won't even buy a single doobie from the dispensary.
No, I know, but it's like you can't. I was telling some people like, "Oh, doesn't it piss you off?" And I go, "Yeah, it does," but I just let it go. You got to let stuff like that go in life because you can't let it like affect you because I just look at the sun, walk on the sunny side of the street, and it sucks, but. I don't, I try to be pretty honorable in my dealings with people. And if people want to treat me like that, there's a day of reckoning. Karma comes around for people. So it's like, no problem, man. I'll just, karma will take care of those people. I just don't have to live like that. So, I got all this great stuff happening. It's like, whatever. Okay. I got ripped off. So what? It's only money.
But she was after lunch. She really liked the herbs like the other fish a punch. She used to have a boyfriend, doesn't like it much. It's kind of like a pimp that was on some street hush.
You stupid punk rock bags, you just make me sick. I just want to fuck your punk rock chick.
Never I fuck you. Never I fuck you. Never I fuck you.
I can't help but while I'm on the Hopeless years, bring up the Drunken Cholos.
Oh yeah, that was me. Tool and Wimpy got together with the original Queers. Yeah, we got together and did that. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. That was great that we got back together with Tulu because he hadn't been playing. He was the drummer. And if you listen to Drunken Cholos, man, he was playing pretty good. It's amazing. He passed away a few years ago, but me and Wimpy were saying, shit, you listen to that Drunken Cholo stuff, and Tulu was playing pretty good. See, Wimpy came back, and we did Day Late and a Dollar Short, so he was able to come out on the road with us now and then. And he came on tour. He went to, Japan and Korea and, out west and over to Europe. And so he was able to come and we'll do our regular set, and then Wimpy will come up, our old singer, and he'll do like 10, 15 minutes. And it was great. Italy, they went crazy. People enjoy it. But Tulu never did that. We invited him, but he just was one of those guys, you know what I mean? He just couldn't leave. He never went to Europe, And I think he was more talented than all of us, but you need work ethic too. So, it's not easy being in a band. You get out there, you're the leader, you got a bullseye on your back, there's a lot of people giving you bullshit. It's a competitive business. And then, you're playing with these guys who complain because, whatever, they got to stay, in a crappy hotel. You know what I mean? It's just like, whatever. But anyway, yeah, you learn a few life lessons touring and stuff, So, but we've been pretty lucky, the Queers. I've been able to support myself off music since the Lookout days. So we had after I sobered up it was around late 90s, Hugh and I got sober, and then Hugh died. But I worked commercial fishing. I lived in New Hampshire. I'm from New Hampshire originally, where Gigi Allen's from. And my brother owned a commercial fishing boat. He still does. But I worked with him for 12 years. So I would tour in the band, and then I would work on the fishing boat. So, yeah, it was kind of a weird dichotomy. I don't know if that's the right word, but just, you know what I mean? Where I was going and assigning chicks, tits one day and playing festivals and all that stuff. And the next I'm like, you know, taking a shit in a 5-gallon bucket on the, you know, stern deck of the Sea Witch 5, you know, 100 miles offshore in the fucking gale, you know? And so it keeps your feet in the ground. You don't get too big headed when you're working on a fishing boat. You know, it was good. I liked it. I miss it, but I live in Atlanta now, so I can't work on the fishing boat. Plus, I'm too old. But it was a fun life for, you know, that's what I did after the Lookout years. We're going on Hopeless, and then, you know, after we left Lookout and all that, I worked fishing and then just touring. But yeah, I've been lucky that we've been able to play music. So, you know,
Yeah.
so.
That
But you know, we'll get asked because we were on Lookout Records with Green Day. So people will say to us, "Oh, dude, don't you wish you would hit it big? Do you get jealous of Green Day?" And I said, "Hell no, they're a great band, man. Love Green Day. Fucking love Green Day. To this day, they'll take out smaller bands, you know, at least let them play on shows, like no-name bands. It's great." And I think it's great they asked the Manges to play with them in Italy. It's great, but I almost killed myself with the money I had. So if I had got my paws on more money, would have been the end of me. I'm an addict and an alkie. You know what I mean? I sobered up finally, but it was like, forget it. I didn't need more money. I did enough damage with what I had. So, like, Lord forbid. So you never kind of like look in the, you know, rear view mirrors, like just look ahead. So I didn't play music to like be as big as we wanted to. That was never. A lot of bands do that. They'll suck any dick with a dollar sign on it they can if they could sell another fucking album. I was never like that. I was a kid who grew up on Black Flag and the DKs and loved those guys, and that meant something to me. And Minor Threat and all that shit, and the Ramones, of course, and that meant something to me. So when we were offered the Warped Tour, I said, "Fuck you, that rock star bullshit. I'm not into that crap. That's not what punk rock was about." And you know, going out, we got offered Social Distortion. You know, we're going to go on tour and sing Ursula finally has tits and this place sucks and kicked out of the Weeblos to a Social Distortion's crowd. I love Social D. I love him. But I would have felt too much of a whore to go out there and like, oh, you know, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't mesh. I'm a whore if I'm doing that bullshit. And so we never did it. Same with Bad Religion. I don't think we're better than any of those bands, but it's like, I don't think we're any worse either. But I never did that shit because I just like felt like too much of a sellout. Stupid, I know. I'd have more money in my bank account and all that stuff, but I've got my morals, and I was never willing to sell my morals out to try to sell another album. I never did. I know a lot of bands. I could tell you stories behind the scenes about bands that did shit. I would never fucking do it. You know. Even to this day, they're like, "Oh, you want to go out with this band or that band?" You know, a lot of them. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go out with this band as long as I don't have to pretend to like them. Fuck it, I'll go out with them. I don't care. I don't give a shit." But we're hoping to, you know, we do pretty good as it is. So anyway, you know, if that's success, I'll take it. This right here, me talking to you, it's great. You know, I love it. I mean, stuff I dreamt about doing in high school when I played trumpet. You know, it's like, fuck, I wish I could be in a band, a rock and roll band, and travel the world. Hey, you have to do it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
shit, man.
And I guarantee you've seen a lot more of this shit than I have in my fucking 40 years. You've been on a fishing boat and I still have yet to see the ocean.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, there you go, man. Fuck, I love the ocean. You know, my family, a lot of us, they were construction workers, bricklayers, and they were fishermen from Scotland. That's my ancestors and stuff. I still got relatives over there in Scotland and Ireland. But anyway, yeah, it keeps you honest. I think if you come from like a working class background, like you do, I do, you know what I mean? I always worked construction, kitchens, whatever it took. I was always a hard worker, dumb as hell, you know, as a fuck up from the word go, but I was a hard worker and you know, getting to play music is, you know, people say to me, "You guys drive? You don't fly everywhere? Do you have a bus?" I go, no. We drive a van. You're kidding. Really? You know, they act like you're fucking strapping on a fucking oxygen tank and climbing fucking Mount Everest. And I go, dude, I worked on a fishing boat. It was like a day at the Playboy Mansion doing this bullshit, playing punk rock compared to doing that bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like, shit, dude, fucking give me a break. I got friends all over the world, you know, whatever. fuck it. I could go to Boise or I could go to Beijing and I could have friends, you know? So that's pretty cool, I think. And that's where you put a price tag, not on how much, you know, how big my band got. I didn't give a fuck, you know? So, yeah, it's all gravy, I think.
Well, I think you did fucking awesome because you were able to support yourself your entire life.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much since we started playing music, yeah, we could. Yep, that's right. I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
But if we had gotten bigger, I wouldn't know. You know, I wouldn't have met my wife at the show I met my wife at, probably. So that's, you know, I wouldn't trade anything for that. You know, we've been married 20 years now. It's like I don't, you know, everything worked out fine. That's the way it's supposed to be, I guess. You know, but I wouldn't want to trade that for money. My life I have now, my house and my wife and my family and my friends and my bandmates and all that stuff, to get more money, and I don't know where I'd be, you know, like a fuck up on my third divorce, you know, shit like that. So, you know, or dead probably, yeah, dead from drugs. That's what it would have been my fucking story. So I'm happy to be right here. You got to be grateful, man, you know. So
See you running around, she's a cool that town that you're up. See you running around, she's a cool that town that you're up. See you running around, she's the cool that town that you're up. Cool that town that you're up. Cool that town that you're up. Cool that town that you're up.
So where were we? Let's see. After you left Hopeless, you did one more for Lookout, Pleasant Screams, which you brought
yeah,
up.
which
And-
was a great album. Is a great album. I'm proud. I love that album. That one's good. I like that. A lot of people like that. But when we did, I was so excited to be back on Lookout, but they were going under. The label kind of closed shop. So we didn't know it. So unfortunately, it kind of fell through the cracks.
But
And then after that, we went to Asia Man Records, and now we're kind of on our own label, All Star Records. So we've come full circle. We started out putting out our own albums, and now we're still doing it. You know, but in this day and age, you can kind of do it yourself. We're grandfathered in. We got a name, so we kind of do our own albums and stuff. So yeah.
that Acid Beaters split with the
Manges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just reissued that. Was that on your own label?
That was on the Manges, their label Striped put it out.
With that,
Yeah, they're our
that
friends.
sweet
the
ass
Manges.
Misfits cover on it. Misfits parody cover.
Yeah, I wasn't too into that cover, to be honest, but whatever. It wasn't my project, even though I paid for it. That's another long story, but we won't go into that one. But yeah, I think it was pretty good. I thought the Manges songs were really good. We had a good time doing ours. Yeah, the Manges. Yeah, I forgot about that one too. Yeah, they just did that. That's long been out of print, but that was a cool one. People liked it. We had some good songs on it. Yeah. We had Dusty Watson played on that, and he played for Dick Dale. He's a good friend of ours now, but we met him when we opened up for Dick Dale, and Dusty came and sat in on that session. I don't know, Hugh would pass or was using different drummers, and so Dusty. So it was pretty thrilling for me because I always loved Dick Dale, you know, and so to have one of his main drummers, you know, in the latter part of his, you know, last 20 years of his playing, really, Dusty was there with Dick. So it was pretty cool to have Dick Dale's drummer there, you know. I mean, I played with Richie Ramone, Marky Ramone, Dusty Watson, my drummer Hugh from the original Queers is great, as good as any of them, really. So it's something else to get to play with musicians of that caliber, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. Yeah, but Dick Dale, yeah, oh, dude, for whatever reason, my pals were always surfers. This is in New Hampshire, and believe it or not, there's a surf scene there. And you got to be dedicated, but all my pals are surfers, and of course, we love Dick Dale, you know. So I always loved that. So to get to open up for Dick Dale and then to play with one of his drummers was really amazing. And I got to meet Dick. I met him many times, so it was really cool. Yeah, I passed, of course, a few years ago, but it's pretty cool, you know. Yeah, I got some good stories from him. Actually, his roadies, it was great because I don't know why, but Dick Dale's roadies, whenever we opened up for them, and then I got to know Dusty, and so I'd always go and see Dick Dale and Dusty was playing with him. We were good pals at that point. So the roadies would treat me like I was Mick Jagger. It was amazing. Like, Joe Queer is here. It was great, dude. Yeah, seriously. I love going to those shows because they're like, Joe Queer is here, like whispering shit, fuck, dude, can I get your autograph? This is Dick Dale's crew. Anyway, great guys. Roy and all those guys, shit. But they let me play his guitar backstage, and it was like a 57 Strat. And he would play guitar strings that were so fucking thick. I mean, shit, it's like telephone cable wires between telephone poles that were so thick. But that guitar was the most amazing Strat I'd ever fucking played in my life. I shit you not, with those thick, heavy strings that Dick played. He told me it was part of his sound. He goes, I can't get that sound unless you have these thick strings. They're so thick. It's like, I think my A string was like his high E. I'm not kidding you. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, I played that fucking guitar. They were like, fuck him. Dick's at the hotel. Go ahead. You want to play his guitar? I go, shit, yeah. And I just I didn't plug it in, but I fucking played it backstage. I was like, damn, that motherfucker's nice. So I played Dick Dale's guitar. Yeah. So
Awesome.
that was, yeah. Oh, it was great.
Well, what did you play? Please say you were playing some surf music.
Oh yeah. I mean, I did. Yeah, I didn't plug it in. Unfortunately, I wanted to, but they're like, shit, he might show up, and I didn't want to be too disrespectful and have people like maybe take a picture of me playing this fucking guitar at sound check in a bar or something, or a club. So I was like, I stayed backstage, but yeah, I fooled around. I go, fucking A, man. Damn, that guitar was sweet. I don't know where it is now. I hope his son has it, but the thing must be worth $300,000 to me, So I'd have to show you this thing that Dick showed me about his tuners. He goes, people think I have perfect pitch, but he goes, I came up with this idea for a tuner on my guitar. It's hard. You got a bass guitar, right? Bass. You play somewhat, right? Anyway, he had figured out in a pick guard how to put in LED lights, 6 LED lights in the little, what's a pick guard, 1/8 of an inch? But he had some electrician guy wire in LED lights on his, here, I'll show you. Hold on one sec. I'll show you real quick. It's great. So what Dick did was right here on my Strat. Can you see it? My 70. This is my 73 Strat right there. Nowhere near as cool as Dick's, but he put in, somehow he had a special pickguard made up. It was a great idea, and I'm surprised nobody has done this. But he had his tuners put in there. And I can't remember exactly, but it was all through the lights. So he would act like he had perfect pitch on stage in front of the crowd. But he goes, they don't know it, but I'm looking at my tuner right down there. And it was built into the pick guard on the edge. It was an ingenious idea, I thought. And somehow he had red and a green. It would tell him if he was in tune for the, however he had it, but it was, he had it in there, and it was amazing. And people thought he had perfect pitch. He told me, but he showed me how to do it. And he said he wanted to patent that idea. And I thought it was a great idea. I would love to have something like that, but anyway, yeah.
Okay. So I have to cut this part out of the video because I know how he did that. And I'm that idea. All right. Right. So they already have them tuners that have the lights on it, right?
Yeah.
That will tell you whether it is in tune or not.
Right.
So what you do is you put it beneath the pick guard and Dremel you a tiny little hole so it shines through at you.
Yeah, he showed me, but this was back in years and 20 years ago. But no, he showed me the little wires, and he had a pick guard. He showed me the wires and how they did it. Yeah. I don't remember him saying drum, but anyway, he did it. But at the time, I was like, damn, that's a fucking great idea. But I don't know if anybody's using that professionally. I don't know. Now they got roadies and they can just get another guitar, I guess. But it was, it was pretty cool. But anyway, at the time, I thought it was cool because it did. Dude, I'll tell you another story about him. So the first time we played with him, we're on tour, and this was at this club La Luna in Portland, Oregon. So we're on tour with Chicks Dig It and the Nobodies, and we're selling out every show, every club we're selling out. That was a small one for that tour. We're doing great. So we come to La Luna Saturday night, Portland, Oregon. Dick Dale won't leave. It's like you either open up for Dick Dale or you don't play. You got to go somewhere else. And I go, hey, there's 2 bands in the world I'll open up for, Green Day and Dick Dale. And so I said, they're like, okay, no problem. So we all opened up. Dick didn't have any bands with him. It was like, no problem. You know, they were like, sure, we'll play with the Queers, whoever, they don't care. So, so we came out there and we were killing it. It was a punk rock crowd. And we came out there and we just, it was crazy. The crowd went nuts. So I'm on stage going, stick around for Dick Dale, you know, thinking half the crowd doesn't know him and the other half doesn't care or whatever. So Dick gets out there, right? And I was on the stage. I watched the whole thing on the side of the stage. It was amazing. Best show I ever fucking saw by him play. I saw him play subsequently like maybe 30 times, and I'm not exaggerating, because I became friends with Dusty from that show and Ron, the bass player, and I'd go see him everywhere. And so anyway, he comes out there, he gets feedback going. They got the spotlight on him, comes out there. And so he just let the feedback build up and up. He had it going really good because he was real talented too. You know, it wasn't just he was a great showman, you know. And he comes out there and he's fucking playing left-handed and he just takes his fucking, gets all this feedback going like for about 2 minutes, and the crowd starts cheering and cheering and cheering. The whole crowd's like going nuts, and he hasn't played a note. He's just doing feedback under the spotlight. And then he pulls his left hand off and he goes, just blows on his fingers. And then he went into boom. Crowd went bonkers. He annihilated us, dude. It was amazing. I get goosebumps thinking about it. I watched the whole thing from the stage. I was like, oh my God, he killed us. It was amazing. Oh my God. But we had backed him into a corner, and he, like Dusty told me this afterwards, you know, he goes, dude, you backed us into a corner. We had to come out. He's like, who are these punk guys? Fuck them. Finally, you know, Dick stepped up to the plate and he said every once in a while, if he was pushed in a corner, we could do these amazing shows. And then we do 25 lame ones or just okay ones. They weren't lame, but, you know, okay, do an acoustic set. He'd be going great. Then play acoustic for 45 minutes. Then another hour playing. You know what I mean? He didn't pace his set good at all. But that night, gold. Didn't play too long. I stayed up talking to him in the parking lot of the hotel. We stayed at the same hotel with them till the sun came up. Yeah, I'll never forget that in Portland. Yeah, he's a good guy. But anyway, I got all these stories and shit. He was something else. Because, I mean, shit, man. You know, he took karate with Elvis Presley and all that stuff. You know, he was there, Dick Dale, man. He was something else. Yeah, he used to raise tigers. I mean, it was unreal. I wasn't his best friend or anything, but I got to know him pretty well. So it was pretty cool. But anyway, that time I never forgot how he annihilated. I mean, we did great, but it was like shit. He wiped the stage with our asses. He was like, take that, punk. It was like, oh, dude, it was great. Unbelievable.
That would have been amazing.
Anyway, good guy.
Houston, we have a problem and we're running out of time. Houston, we have a problem. The kids are all out of their minds. Houston, we have a problem and we're running out of time. Houston, we have a problem. The kids are all out of their minds.
And then I guess Monkey Brain. I don't know. I can't remember the order of those albums in there. What came? I think then.
Yeah,
Monkey.
yeah. You had a live one in between that, the Weekend at Bernie's, but then Monkey.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Monkey Brain. Yep. And then that was Asia Man. Yep. That was a good recording. Monkey Brain. That was good. And yeah. So after Monkey Brain, we had just put out so many albums, the Queers, and we can't play half the songs we have now. We can't play a quarter of the songs we have now. So it wasn't really, that bothered to put out an album, so we did Back to the Basement, and which really could have been better. We should have treated it as a demo, but we released it as an album. But then we didn't do another album until Save the World, because we were doing an album every year. We got all these albums out, and I was like, shit, dude, we got so many albums out. I didn't feel pressure to do any new ones. So COVID came, and we did Save the World, which was one of our best albums. I love that album. It's one of our top 3 albums, start to finish.
Yeah.
So,
Question about that album. Cheeto and a Speedo eating a burrito. Is that based on true events?
Well, no, but it was Cheeto was our bass player for a few years, and he's a good friend of mine here. He lives in Atlanta, and for whatever reason, you go on tour and you start saying goofy stuff, or just hanging with your friends, and for whatever reason, someone says something stupid and it sticks. And it was like our drummer Hoglog kept saying, "Cheeto and a Speedo eating a burrito. Let's go. It's time to get to the gig," or whatever. And so I wrote the song Cheeto. We're sitting in the van someplace once, and I was like, I came up with a little Cheeto and a Speedo eating a burrito now. And so I remembered it. And then come time we're making the album, I was like, I'll see if I can work on that. So, that came from just goof, you know what I mean? Hanging with your friends, just goofy stuff, which was kind of where love songs came from. Same thing. Hey, let's write a song called Ursula finally has tits, something like that. So, yeah. But anyway, not really. It was, yeah, we came up with a title, but Cheeto really isn't in a Speedo. But anyway, so.
There is no other day. Let's try it another way. You lose your mind and play free games for me. See Emily play.
But yeah, Save the World was a great fucking album. The great album. And then you did a cover album. Where did that come from? Reverberation?
Reverberation, yeah. That was we're friends with Cleopatra Records, cool label out in LA. And so they asked us if we wanted to do a cover album, or I asked them or something. Anyway, we knew them. We said, what about this? They said, yeah, sure. So we did a bunch of covers. And it was kind of like, one of the cool things about knowing Joey Ramone was talking to him about music. And one of their albums, we did Acid Eaters, their cover album. And so I had a few good conversations with Joey about that album and what I thought of the album and what I thought they could have done and what I liked about it and all that and what he liked about it. He liked some of it. He didn't like all of it at all. He had some complaints about it, but he was a guy who really listened to, like, what he wanted to know what you thought. He just wanted to hear the truth. He said, good, bad, ugly. What do you think? Tell me. So it was cool. So when we did Reverberation, it was like some of the songs I had mentioned to Joey that I thought the Ramones could have done. I don't know if they could have, whatever. But Hungry was one of them by Paul Revere and the Raiders. I can't Be True to Your School, Dead Man's Curve, a few of those things. So anyway, we kind of thought about Acid Eaters and the Ramones cover album. And then Cleopatra, it was kind of coming out of COVID. And they said, sure, we'd love to do another album with you. And so, there was no gigs to do because we usually play 90 gigs a year. So we were able to do it. So that's what we did, Save the World. And then we did Reverberation. So it was fun. It was kind of like more a labor of love type thing. We had a lot of fun. So yeah, that's where that came out. There wasn't a lot of thought like, oh, let's do a cover album. None of that stuff. It was just like we had the time. Let's do it. So yeah.
Is that what got inspired your latest couple singles? Let's see. In 2023, you did a AC/DC cover, Shook Me All Night Long, and then so far this year you did some Rolling Stones and Pink Floyd. You happened to cover the same Pink Floyd song that David Bowie covered. Was that?
Yeah, no, that's why we did it, because I was a Bowie fan from Pinups and all that stuff. Yeah. Again, that was Cleopatra Records. They like doing cover albums. We're doing a Beatles song for them next. I'm not supposed to tell anybody what we're doing, but anyway. Yeah, it's cool. They asked bands to do it, and it's fun. So I just thought we did a split that I don't know if we did a split with Sloppy Seconds, and we covered an ELO song. And so I wanted to do something different than like just the typical Ramonesy, Green Day, Screeching Weasel. I wanted to do something different. So ELO, we did an outtake from their great 1981 album, Time, called Julie Don't Live Here Anymore. And So that was fun too. It was really cool. It's a picture disc, 7-inch. It's a really cool project. Sloppy did a song by The Sweet, you know, the band Ballroom Blitz and all that shit. And it's a cool project. But yeah, anyway, we had fun doing that. But the Stones and the Pink Floyd and AC/DC, they asked us to do it. We're like, sure, let's do it. It was fun. I've got a studio, so it's pretty easy to do. And we have a lot of fun doing them. But Pink Floyd was like as far out there as we got. It was pretty far out to see Emily play. So it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, I found it interesting that you chose the Syd Barrett years, and I was like, when you mentioned David Bowie earlier, and I was like, no, that makes sense on why he picked that particular song.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You know, it's funny because a lot of people don't, Wimpy knew it, you know it, but a lot of people didn't pick up on that. But of course, Bowie pinups, hey, come on, man.